Hi, I'm Cheryl Lowe and welcome to Essence. This is where I get to have amazing, authentic, orgasmic conversations about how people stay turned on by life. Today I am having a very authentic and orgasmic conversation with Tracey Vella and how she stays turned on by life. Today, Tracey tells us how she's taken her life from the depth of despair to turned on through the Wim Hof method, ice baths and breathing. Hello, hello, my beautiful friend, adventure-seeking yogi, Tracey Vella. Welcome to Expressing Your Uncensored Essence. And it can be orgasmic if you like.
It generally is, yeah.
So Tracey, how would you authentically introduce yourself?
So I started adventure seeking yogi because that's who I am. I seek adventure. I love adventure and I love doing yoga. So I wanted to put the two together instead of, I love other yoga retreats, but mine, I just wanted that adventure twist with them. And yeah, that's how I come up with who I am, as identifying as adventure seeking yogi, just putting the two together.
I'm just going to add here how we met, because that's a tiny little adventure in itself. And I think it's a beautiful story what drew us together. I sailed in with my family to Mackay Marina, and there was a flyer on the gate, the marina gate, saying juicy yoga and a blissful on Thursday morning. So I rock up, and Tracey is the beautiful yoga teacher, and there were 4 or 5 other ladies. Yeah. And after the class, we're having a juice together and a bliss ball, and Tracey and I connected, and we just started talking, and it just snowballed, didn't it? We just found so much in common. We got so excited, and it was such a beautiful turned on conversation about travel, about family, about yoga, about boats, sailing. Everything came out in that space of 2 hours. Was it 2 hours?
I don't know. I kind of got lost in a tunnel, if you know what I mean. Like, so you were sitting opposite to me. I remember my friend was sitting to the left, and then the other women were sitting over here, and no one else existed. And you and I were backwards and forwards, and Katie was just like, I feel like you guys are the same person.
Yeah, we just got sucked into each other's world, and we just got so excited and so turned on by the conversation and the synchronicities and the similarities. It was beautiful, wasn't it?
And what I loved, I think, like, I'd only just met you. I didn't know a thing about you, and I opened up in an authentic way to, I think that's what I do. I say it as it is. And I felt your compassion, if that makes sense. I felt and then you shared, and it was just like, what? We have that same story too.
Yeah. So we'd only just met, we'd done a yoga class together, only just met, and here we were sharing our authentic essence just instantly. Like, we just an instant connection, and I felt it in my soul. Like, I felt this soul connection to you, and I felt so totally able to share everything with you upon just meeting. So what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I invited you back to my house, and my oldest son is just like, you are so trusting. Like, you're way too trusting. You don't even know these people. And I said, you just feel a person. Like, you can just feel someone. You can feel there's everything about them. I don't know what that is.
Mm.
I felt you. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt you. And when you do communicate on that kind of level, that authentic level, and you are able to, you find someone to express your authentic essence with, it is a feeling. You feel it in your body. It's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of belonging, like instant belonging, and
Yeah.
instant acceptance, instant love, instant, it's there's really something so special about being able to be totally free, authentic, express it with someone, isn't there?
Absolutely. You're making my lip quiver.
Are you trying not to smile too much?
I'm trying not to cry. I'm like, oh, she just so wonderfully. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then when you came on my first yoga retreat and all the other ones, um, so just that container of being free and sharing and authentic, it's just soul enriching, isn't it?
It's very healing. That's all I've got for it, is so healing. And yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. You're a breath of fresh air. Yeah, your containers are amazing. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you. So let's talk more about you, and let's talk about your turned on life. How do you stay turned on by life? And what does being turned on by life mean to you, and how do you stay turned on by life?
It's a very good question. I guess going to that bottom, we as adults and as mothers and, working and life, we tend to just suppress our dreams. We suppress our, like you say, our essence, our authentic selves to accommodate other people. And I guess for me, I had to say no. No more. Like, I cannot suppress who I am anymore. So just being me authentically, how I am, whether I'm going through good days or bad days, and just expressing that. But also finding that lust for life again. So being a mother, I felt quite constrained in in those walls of motherhood, and that's where adventure seeking yogi come from. Was I have to seek adventure. I'm not just a mother, this is who I was before I was a mother. So going out and just chasing life, chasing all those dreams that I suppressed and put on the back burner for motherhood, for being a partner, for paying a mortgage, work, life. So yeah, I said no more of that. I'm chasing everything I ever wanted. And yeah, so that's now how I stay turned on. So at the moment, we're currently traveling. Well, I'm not right now, but we are currently traveling the same as you guys, just in a caravan. And yeah, chasing the uncommon dream, I guess, the things we all wait for until we retire, or yeah.
Yeah. And what an amazing experience, for a gift for your kids, for your boys, and also for you and your partner Jono, to have that time together as a family, and to really focus on you as a family, but also for your kids to experience you in your full, beautiful, turned on essence, traveling and doing what you are drawn to do and what you love.
Yeah, not only that, they're learning, what you put out there you can receive. So little instances, we went on the Kuranda train, and they wanted to go on gold class, and they saw the train coming, and they read the first carriage was gold class, and they're like, we want to go on gold class. I'm like, I didn't pay for gold class, but we want to go on gold class. And when our carriage cart arrived in front of us, it had gold class sitting on it. And the lady got out. She goes, unfortunately, your cart was broken, so you guys have to travel gold class. Oh my God, see, guys, what, you know, the little things. And it's just been happening everywhere we're going. You know, I want a necklace. Oh, I'm not buying you a necklace. And then they find a necklace, you know, the weirdest, randomest things, just so small. So we're getting to teach them the things that we value in life as well, which is turning us all on. Just reduce that level of, we don't have that stress, that normal stress of let's go to school, let's, you know, everything's on a time frame. So they're understanding manifestation now, and that you can go after what you want.
Yeah. And how does it feel to actually break free of that time frame, that okay, 8:15 we've got to catch the bus, so it's, you know, that type of thing? How does that feel?
It's a sense of freedom. I know reality's got to kick in eventually, and we're going to start looking for work. However, I feel it's on our clock. It's what we want. It's not what we're forced into sort of doing to maintain a life. But yeah, you know, we get up when we want. We go do our walk or walk the dog. We're scootering. We're coming back. We're eating breakfast when we want. We're starting school when we want. So there's just that element of like our shoulders have just
Yeah.
the stress has dropped away.
Yeah. Beautiful. And do your kids join in your yoga with you?
No, they haven't been, actually. A little bit. No, I lied. Bodhi did. Yeah, Bodhi and I did some yoga on the beach one sunrise morning. So that was really cool. And he but yeah, we haven't been doing it lately because I've been in Mackay for a week. So we're separated at the moment. But yeah, and I'll have to take a couple of weeks off yoga.
Yeah.
Talk about it all. I wore my shirt for you. All the love, all the power.
So Wim Hof method has made a humongous significant impact in your life, Tracey. Let's talk about what happened there.
Yeah. Do you want me to go into the depths?
Yeah, go in.
Before and after, Tracey.
Yeah,
Sure.
go before and after.
So like I said earlier, motherhood was pretty heavy for me, and all the constraints of life itself, the stress of jobs and mortgage and schools, and I developed a pretty heavy depression. That was ongoing. I did have what was called seasonal affective disorder for most of my life. So 20 years I suffered with that. And each year, you know, I've never been one to just fall slave to the medical system, I guess. I was always searching for an answer. I was always bettering my life. So especially over the last 8 years or 10 years, we've done so much. We've changed diets. I've started yoga, heavy metal detoxes, like the works. We really put a lot of effort in. And in 2020, I think 2019, I did a heavy metal detox because I did not want to go through that depression again. Like each year, it was just becoming more and more debilitating and taking control. And I would just lose my whole personality. I'd lose who I was. The confusion was the worst part. Like I just didn't know who I was, who my family were. So it was a full struggle. So 2019, after this full heavy metal detox, I was like, this is it. This is going to be the thing that's cured me. And 2020 come around, and no, I fell really deep into a full depression. I wanted to leave my family. I told John, I'm not his burden anymore. You cannot keep holding me, like take the kids away. I didn't want anything to do with my family, and I didn't want them to have to suffer the trauma from me. So I said, let's not ruin our kids. Go. And he couldn't. He just couldn't leave. There was times where he was like, yep, I'm going to move to Tassie, and so that's where he's from. But yeah, so when he was out at work one day, he stumbled across the Wim Hof method. I don't know how, can't even remember. Someone told him about it, or it was in his feed. So he started doing it, and he started researching into it, and the benefits he got, like he wasn't as reactful towards me, or he had this strength about him that he didn't crumble under the pressure of what I was putting him through, or the things I would say, and there was just this difference in him. And he didn't tell me about it straight away. He wanted to just do it for himself and see what was going on. And he had a real what's the other word I'm looking for? He could handle stress a lot better. Resilience, thank you. And so one day then he introduced it to me, and he said, look, I want to talk about this Wim Hof method with you, and would you be interested in doing it? And I told him to fuck off. I had enough of soul searching. Every year I put myself just through whatever I was going through, believing that this was going to fix me. And then the disappointment that would come every winter that would roll around and I wasn't healed. I just gave up. This year, I just completely threw my hands in the air. I said, I give up. The world's gone to shit anyway. So it was 2020, it was COVID, and there was more craziness and confusion going on than ever. So yeah, I just wasn't interested, said no. And he just begged me. He said, please, like, let's just start it, and then you can research it if you feel it resonates with you. So we started the Wim Hof method, and the first session, it was a little bit like the session you experienced in me, but probably more intense because I was in the confines of my own home, so not out in the public with the hotel looking down at us. So I was able to cry, I roared, I growled, I felt like I was giving birth, that full, just something deep from inside of me. And then at the end, it was just pure bliss. And I was like, what the hell just happened? What was that? And he was just smiling at me like, yes. So we continued the breath work every day. And he kept saying to me, don't look into it. Let's just do it. And then after a couple of weeks, he said, I think it's time. If you want to read his book, read his book. And during the book, I broke down in absolute tears. I got so emotional. So in Wim Hof's book, it talks about his wife jumping off an 8-story building after kissing their 4 children goodbye. So she committed suicide, and my heart, like everything was just so. Yeah, the pain that Wim Hof felt, and he had to raise 4 children. He was broke. So his go-to was to jump in the ice cold lake, and he realized that took his pain away, and all he had was his breath to focus on for survival. And that's how he developed the Wim Hof method. Where was I going before that? So yeah, the book, I then read the book, and I was just that's what grabbed me, let's do this. So it was in the middle of winter, and we started the cold water therapy. So the coldest person ever, I hated the cold. How you see me now is not who I used to be. If I was on your boat in the middle of July, I would have been with beanies on, rugged up, socks. Like, I was the coldest person ever. So to start cold water therapy in May, that was pretty full on, but we did it. We got to I think we were getting up to 3-minute showers, cold showers. And then in August, must have been August 2020, we did our first ice bath. And I remember I started singing in the ice bath, but I wasn't present. I just started singing. And my partner's like, you're not meant to be singing, you're meant to be breathing. And I was just singing, like it was just getting louder and louder. And then when I got out, I broke down and I just started crying. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, this is gratitude tears. I'm not crying out of sadness. Like that something had shifted in me, something had changed. And the way I expressed it then was, I just witnessed my funeral. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I just said goodbye to my old self. Like that was a rebirthing of some sort. So yeah, we've kept it up. So 2020, I said goodbye to who I was, and that's when I started adventure seeking yogi and went for all my dreams, and yeah, I haven't looked back.
I love your story, Tracey. I just love your story, and hearing it again, I get goosebumps. It's my like truth shivers.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got them again. It's just such a beautiful, inspiring person. Well, you are such a beautiful, inspiring person, but and your story, yeah, is so inspiring. So thank you for sharing it with us today. So our July retreat on Magnetic Islands, we're 5 beautiful women, and Tracey comes along, and this was so unplanned, this part of the retreat. Tracey said, would you like to do some Wim Hof? And we all said, yeah, why not? So Tracey taught us the breathing, we did the breathing, and then it was time to jump in the cold water. So I had the GoPro filming everyone.
Should we add that there was like 20, 25 knot winds?
Yes, 25 knot winds.
Yeah, it was pretty cold. 6 a.m. in the morning.
I really don't know how cold the water is. I've since bought myself a pool thermometer so that I can check. Out of interest's sake, how cold is the water? And, this is far north Queensland. So, it's not going to be below 10. It would probably be, at a guess, maybe 16, 17 degrees, which is freezing for a North Queensland person.
Cold.
That is cold for a North Queensland person. Our winter days, 22, 23.
Yeah, people think we're crazy putting a jumper on at 20 degrees.
Yes. So Tracey's, we've done the breathing, we're about to jump in, and I'm like full resistance. Like, you want me to jump in? No, I'm going to film everyone. I'm not jumping in there. Like, what? You crazy? Like, we've just done a guided Wim Hof with Tracey Vella. And now, now what are we doing, girls?
Is it a we?
Therapy.
Is it we?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yes, that's right. We're in cold water therapy, which is not that cold. We're in Queensland, for goodness sake.
It builds resistance to the cold.
Okay.
I promise you.
I'll think about it.
Come on,
You'll feel alive.
You're the captain. You have to do everything.
Okay, maybe I'll do it.
This has to go on your film.
Peer group pressure. And it's one time that I am so grateful for the peer group pressure, because it was awesome. It was it was really beautiful, and I'm so happy you brought that experience to our retreat, because then we did it every single day.
Yeah, it became our thing, didn't it?
It did. It became our thing. It became the theme of the retreat. The intermittent fasting, the Wim Hof, and the jump in the water every morning. And why wouldn't you want to do that? Here we are on a yacht on a tropical paradise island with tepid water. I wouldn't call it. And Why wouldn't you want to jump in first thing in the morning to start your day?
Go!
Keep your shoulders under. Keep your shoulders under.
That is fine.
You know?
Yeah. And it's just so enlivening, you know, you just feel so fresh and out of your comfort zones as well. So it just it turns you on.
It does.
It really does. And then our 5-minute horse stance afterwards, that was so much fun.
Hush up, gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time.
I will add some footage in of the horse dance. I think it's worthwhile adding some footage in because that was the icing on the cake, wasn't it?
It really was.
The pumping good music and the horse dance for a timed 5 minutes. And we're all doing it in our bikinis, not caring what other yachts are looking or thinking or yeah, we're just all doing it together. And it was certainly the icing on the cake. I think.
And you kept going. So you and a few of the other ladies kept going once you returned down south. How did you find? Yeah.
Well, I did it. We lived by a lake. I don't know how cold the water was, but there's a nice little beach down there. I did the breath work, the cold dunk, and the horse dance. And but I do take my hat off to Lauren, who actually lives in Melbourne. So imagine doing, she's got a pool in the backyard. She said the pool was 9 degrees and the outside temperature was 10 degrees. So she gets the gold star for continuing our practice in the middle of winter in Melbourne. I certainly would have felt very, very challenged by that. So.
Yeah. But doesn't it just change your thinking? I remember when we did, was it Conway? The Cedar Creek Falls in Airlie Beach. And I just walked straight in and you were like, this water is freezing. It absolutely changes your thermostat. Like I did not feel that water to be cold. It was fresh, but not cold, but it just changes your mindset as well that, it's doable. You know how you're going to feel when you get in and you know how you're going to feel when you get out. And it's amazing.
Do you think it actually rewires your mindset in a more extensive way? Like, do you think it actually helps you face different challenges head on rather than
absolutely
tiptoeing into the cold water?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the breath work and the cold water therapy married together, like I said, it just makes you a lot more resilient. You're reducing your oxidative stress, so you can face things differently, and you've got control over your mind and you've got control over your hormones, and it just changes everything in life for the better,
And do you think it really boosts or sparks that turn on, like being really turned on by life, all of life, let's jump in the cold water. Yeah, let's go sailing to Louisiana.
I reckon it does. You just want to be able to grab life by its balls and give it all you've got, or like Gwyneth Paltrow says, just milk the shit out of it.
Get out of life. Yeah. I love that. And I don't want to divert the subject to Gwyneth Paltrow, but I read an article about her the other day, and it really focused on how her work with Goop is, and I mean, there's a whole lot of work out there that's changing the way we approach our sexual wellness. The sexual wellness industry is booming instead of being kept under suppressed. So I think the world is catching on about being turned on by life in more ways than one. So
Yeah, well, I just finished her second series. Well, I think it was her first series, and the second episode she has Wim Hof on there.
oh,
Did you see
really?
that one?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, she sends her staff away with Wim Hof, and they do his protocols, and amazing results on there as well. Very similar to my story. One lady had a full panic disorder, and she hasn't had a panic attack since. Yeah.
So, Tracey, to wrap it up, what's your turned on by life philosophy in a nutshell?
That's putting me on the spot.
It is.
The first thing that came to me was just go and get them. Go and get it. Go chase those dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're walking.
Yeah.
You're walking your talk, girlfriend. And you
Yeah.
are amazing, and I feel so blessed to have stumbled into your class in Mackay, Juicy Yoga, because your presence in my life has juiced up my life so much. So,
and you ditto, girlfriend. Like, takes amazing women to know amazing women is how I'm looking at it. So yeah, it's awesome to be in your presence.
yeah. And it really is. It's about finding other women or people that you are able to express your uncensored orgasmic essence with. Yeah.
What I love more is I had no idea why I was doing juicy yoga. It just, the thought dropped into my head, and then as soon as I met you, I let it go. I was like, I feel like I don't need to do this anymore. So yeah, I called you in and you arrived.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah. So thank you for taking the cold plunge and telling us all about your story on my podcast. So
Thank you for having me.
Love, appreciation, and turn on. So let's put a little teaser out there. What's our next podcast going to be about? How are we going to express our authentic essence, orgasmic essence, on the next podcast?
Self-love, baby.
Lately, I've been
Let's grind it in.
staring at the dark.
Yeah.
Turn my inner demons into art. Struggle with the pain inside my heart. Wish I didn't care about what they say. What you want to say, what you want to say, what you want to say, what you want. Say what you want to say, what you want to say, what you want to say, what you want.